Part 9. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziyu. Chapter 81. Chapter 81, Mage's Miraculous Creation. There is no suspense. Jiraiya, who had regained his strength, the psychic beast Miyagi's hand-toed, and with the assistance of Satoru's team, soon the three enemy Jaminin who couldn't escape all lay on the ground and lost consciousness. Teacher Jiraiya, and Senpai Wu, they are amazing. Namikaze Minato, who arrived at the end of the battle, supported Akemi Shimaru who was still a little weak, and enjoyed a wonderful battle dazzled. Beside them, Yu assassinated Jonin who was killed by Wu and the others at the beginning. The corpses of ninjas are all information, not to mention Jonin, even after the war has been going on, not many Jonin have fallen. This time, in order to besiege Jiraiya, the Konoha elite, Amane and Iwagakure spent a lot of effort. They were almost all about to succeed, but Satoru also knew that even if it wasn't them who came, Jiraiya and Namikaze Minato would definitely be fine. As for Akemichi Maru, it might be dangerous. Nanoyo is treating Jiraiya and his injuries, while Wu is drawing a magic circle on the ground. Huh. Boy Wu, what are you doing? Jiraiya also discovered that what Satoru depicted was a technique he had never seen before, and the strange symbols on it did not seem to be existing ninja characters. Rope Tree, Minato, you two come over and help. Wu finished drawing, wiped off his sweat, and glanced at the sky. Master Jiraiya, it's going to be dark later, let's eat before we go on our way. Gillette also expressed doubts, dining. Then what do you do in painting? You'll find out later. Satoru pointed to the rope tree and Minato who came over, and stood in a triangle with himself on the 3 points of the magic circle. You can just stand up, the first time you use this technique, the two of you have the most chakra, and can help me maintain the magic circle, well, the stability of the technique. Enlightenment nodded, and activated the arcane power amidst everyone's bewildered expressions. Summon dining table. This is. Jiraiya's jaw was about to hit the ground, and so were Roju, Minato, Mikoto, Nanu, and Yoshimaru. Mysterious lights flashed one after another, and what emerged from the magic circle was a large table floating in the air. Not only that, the table is full of delicacies. Meat floss bread, chocolate cake, vegetable pie, cream puffs, grilled sausages, ham toast. Coke, black tea, orange juice, lemonade, soda water, scented tea, fruit tea. Dining table, everyone finally understood the meaning of this word. It's a miracle. Minato opened his eyes wide and muttered to himself, in it, he had never seen the food produced by Satoshi's food creation and water creation techniques. Even Akemi Shimaru has seen his cousin Akemichi Dingza eat that kind of magic bread that doesn't make him fat. This is what Brother Dingzo said, Brother Wu's magical creation. Yoshimaru's saliva was about to flow out. As a foodie of the Chiudeo family, he couldn't resist the temptation of this table at all. No, Wu. Your efficiency has simply risen to a higher level. Rope Tree cheered and jumped to the dining table, carefully looking at the food on it. Even the variety has changed. It's only by eating the snacks made by Satoru that you don't have to worry about getting fat. Mikan also became happy. After a fierce battle, hunger is indeed a problem that needs to be faced. They accepted the task in such a hurry that they didn't have time to resupply. Usually Wu always says that this kind of thing is not nutritious, and he is unwilling to do more. He will only let it go when the situation is urgent, the supplies are insufficient, or the life in the wild is improved, and the mouthful is over. But there was never a shortage of drinks. Well, I can only make these simple snacks at the moment, let's make do with it, and go back to the base as soon as you are full, eat whatever you want, unlimited supply. Wu controlled the dining table and slowly lowered it to the ground, and everyone sat around and began to grow big. Tisk. It's a pity that there is still no wine. Jiraiya's exclamation reaps enlightenment's contempt. Is there anyone here who can drink besides someone? Besides drinking now, are you sure? At the front line base, Orochimaru frowned as he watched the little red-skinned toad who had come to call again disappear before his eyes. Wu and the others arrived a little earlier than expected, and cooperated with Jiraiya to successfully wipe out a total of 5 enemy Genin. It is really one of the few major victories recently. Orochimaru is also very pleased that his students are so outstanding. But all in all, Zilla also lost a student. War is really cruel. Now, there is no chance for the newly promoted ninja to gradually adapt to the battlefield. Orochimaru sighed lightly. Jiraiya's approach was correct, but if he was unlucky and was targeted by the enemy, there was nothing he could do. That idiot Jiraiya is still not as good as this genius, he is still far behind in teaching disciples. Slightly proud, Orochimaru soon came to his senses, suppressed these thoughts, and began to think about problems as a front-line commander. Jiraiya is back this time, and it won't be long before the 3 of us will go to the battlefield. That guy Hanzo is getting more and more arrogant. No, maybe he's crazy. Orochimaru frowned. The fact that the 3 kingdoms of fire, wind, and earth took the land of rain as the main battlefield, as well as the ineffectiveness of the ally Yanyan village, made the leader of Yanyan village, Sanjiayu Hanzo, unable to bear it anymore. Just before the news of Jiraiya's safety was delivered, Orochimaru had already received the latest information. Salamander Hanzo declares war on the 3 major powers at the same time. How crazy is it to fight together with Yanyan village, who was barely an ally in the land of earth? And relying on the strength of the ninja demigod and the identity of the land snake in the land of the rain, Sanchoyo Hanzo did just that. In the upcoming situation, Captain Sarutobi should take over as the commander-in-chief. That would be great. Orochimaru shook his head. This is equivalent to the 3rd generation of Naruto Sarutobi Hiruzen directly taking over the command of the front line, which is the safest approach. Besides, that person should also come to the front line, right? It's reassuring, Then, Jiraiya's team, now there are only 2 people left, we need to make up a 4-member team. Orochimaru took the front line ninja roster by the table, and slowly flipped through it. These 2 guys are good. Orochimaru shrank his golden pupils, saw 2 names, and had some unpleasant memories. Hayaga, have you been promoted to the Chunin? You are worthy of the wealthy Hayaga family, the heir to the head of the family. The ninja who formed a team with them, it's still the stuff of the rich and powerful. Orochimaru frowned when he saw the team's mission record. Since that's the case, it's a perfect fit for the 2 brothers who are highly rated to bring 2 newly promoted ninjas. These 2 boys can be selected by Jiraiya, and they have experienced this battle. It should be no problem. With a cold snort, Orochimaru closed the roster, threw it on the table, and sat in the chair by himself. Bien, Sherinan, the 2 pupils, blood inheritance boundary, in terms of their effect on war, it is obvious that Bien is much bigger. Speaking of which, Jiraiya should also thank me. If it wasn't during the war, these 2 guys would have ignored him no matter what. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 82. Chapter 82 Jiraiya and Namikaze Minato. Perhaps it is the deep-rooted sense of a wealthy family that is at work. As Konoha is almost the oldest wealthy family, the Hayaga clan often has some privileges. For example, the heirs of the Hayaga clan do not need to receive task training for ninja, they can receive education directly at home, and then go directly to the Chunin exam. For example, the heir of the Hayaga clan of this generation, Hayaga Hayazu, would be the same if he followed the previous rules. However, although Hayaga Nichizu is a little older than Naraki, he also graduated from the same class, that is to say, he and Satoru actually became genin in the same group. This is precisely because the border conflict has intensified, and Konoha has activated emergency measures. Even as the heir of the Hyuga family, Hyuga Hyazu cannot ignore the arrangements of the village's high-level officials at this time. It's just that in terms of the choice of mentor, he is more inclined to lead the team with his family's jonin. The Hyuga clan has excellent elite jonin in Konoha, although they are not up to the level of Orochimaru and Jiraiya, but they are loyal. Coupled with the protection of his own younger brother, Hinata Nichize, and Hinata Nichizu's safety, it is enough to get the highest level of protection. This is also because the pure white eyes of Hyuga Hyazu sect is really one of the most attractive trophies on the battlefield. Therefore, this made Orochimaru, who was originally interested, feel ashamed. Because of this, when he heard that Tsunade mentioned that the boy from the Mitoman family was very interesting, he would go to observe and investigate in person. Originally, it was fine for the jonin of the Hyuga clan to lead the young master of the family, but it was too wasteful to have 3 pairs of supercilious eyes in one team. But this also allowed them to maintain almost a 360-degree full-view investigation almost without stopping. The Hyuga brothers also honed their family's unique skills through actual combat under the guidance of Honya Jonin. To Orochimaru's dissatisfaction, in an encounter, the civilian ninja who teamed up with the Hinata brothers was abandoned. Leading a team of jonin to protect the clan heir Hyuga Hyazu with all his strength, and even Hyuga Nichize was injured, so naturally he would not pay attention to the commoner jonin at all. Although the Hyuga clan thanked and compensated the family of the commoner genin afterwards, in Orochimaru's view, it was just a superficial gesture. With the gaze of a wealthy family, condescending. Therefore, when he was the front-line commander, Orochimaru didn't mind moving a little bit. The shinobi of the Hyuga family should play a stronger role in the upcoming war. Each ninja squad should also be led by the Kunin, and start to play its own role in the cruel battlefield. Besides, the teammates assigned to them, but the 2 students of Jiraiya, who survived the melee of 6 jonin, are not fledgling stunners. I'm really a serious and responsible commander. Nodding in satisfaction, reaffirming his thoughts, Orochimaru opened the drawer, took out a transfer order, and started writing. After successfully returning to the base and completing the healing and supplies, Jiraiya took the time to conduct assault training for the 2 disciples. Namikaze Minato, Akemi Shimaru, and Satoru got along for a while, and they finally came out of the shadow of their companion's death in battle and cheered up. In view of the situation of the 2 disciples, Zilla also decided to formulate different courses for them. Akemi Shimaru was born in the Akideo school, so it goes without saying that there are secret arts passed down from his family, and he can teach him all kinds of practical experience. Therefore, combined with this attack, Jiraiya also carefully analyzed the whole battle situation for Akemi Shimaru to make up for the regret that he was almost unconscious for most of the time. What Akemi Shimaru needs more now is to take a good rest so that he can recover his fighting power as soon as possible. For Namikaze Minato, who was born as a commoner and has stronger talents, Jiraiya taught him everything. Minato's performance on the battlefield, combined with Satoru's explanation, made Jiraiya realize that his little disciple is a genius comparable to Orochimaru, and himself. For this kind of genius who has not yet grown up, the first thing to do is to ensure that he survives the war successfully. Then, Minato, there is one method that can enhance your strength in a short period of time, and there is one that is most suitable. Jiraiya was carrying a huge scroll, he took it off and put it in front of Minato. In your opinion, in the last battle, what was my skill, teacher, that surprised you the most? Big flame bomb? Minato scratched his head and said regretfully, it's a pity that my chakra nature is wind. I'm afraid I can't learn the powerful fire escape from my teacher. Jiraiya had an expression of "you blind boy," he squatted down angrily. Hey! Are you sure that the most amazing thing is Huo done? Toad, Toad. Aren't you surprised by such a big toad? Be frightened. The first time Minato saw Jiraiya channeling Gamma Bunta, it was when he was trying to escape. Unlike the family ninjas with a long history of family education, although Minato knows psychic arts, the most he has seen are small animals like ninja dogs. What's more, there are not many toads in the fairyland Miyamu Mountain that the big family has seen. Alright. Jiraiya looked at Minato's situation, and recalled the first time he was taught necromancy by his teacher Hiruza Sarutobi Sarakage, and couldn't help breaking out in a cold sweat. I was lucky, or maybe I was guided by fate at all, and ran to Mount Miyamu for the first time without a contract of spiritism. If something goes wrong, I'm afraid there will be no such person now. Cough. Well, then, you have seen Toad's fighting power. Gillette also pointed to the big scroll, and said mysteriously. Do you want to learn? Spiritualism. Minato nodded repeatedly. Apart from being terrified, he was actually very curious about the toads. Especially Jiraiya-sensei seems to have a pretty good relationship with the toads. As for why the toad can talk. Ninja dogs can talk, so it's strange for Toad to talk. Minato completely ignored Jiraiya when he first came back, and seemed to disappear for a while, and when he saw him again, he collapsed on the bed suspected of being poisoned. Since Tsunade-sama who came to check said it's nothing to do, it's just some mental shock, then there should be no problem. It's just that Tsunade-sama's smile is very gloating, making Minato's mind full of question marks. But now, facing the temptation of spiritism, Minato didn't care about those little things at all. Very good, then, bite your finger, sign your name here, and then stamp the blood of 5 fingers. Jiraiya looked at Minato's yearning expression with satisfaction, and felt that his image had grown taller. He opened the large scroll and pulled it away, revealing the name signed on it, and the last name was himself. In this blank space, Minato nodded, bit his finger, and wrote his own name in the space behind Jiraiya's name. Pressing the blood marks of 5 fingers, Minato seemed to feel something different. The caster makes a contract with any creature, and then uses ninjutsu to summon it when needed. This kind of space-time ninjutsu is called psychic art. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 83. Chapter 83 Minato's Time and Space Talent. Jiraiya watched with satisfaction as Minato signed his name and stamped his 5 fingerprints. In this way, this young genius is his direct disciple, not just a student. Tisk tisk, I also have direct disciples, just like Tsunade's cute female disciple, and Orochimaru's, well, barely cute little disciple. Zille grinned involuntarily, recalling Wu-Wu's childlike way of thinking, who seemed not much younger than him, and looked at Minato who was thinking. Did you feel it just after signing the contract? Minato seems to be very suitable for learning the art of psychic, or is his talent actually in time and space ninjutsu? As soon as this thought flashed through, Zille also forgot about other people's disciples, and the education of his own disciple was the top priority. Minato, you have already signed the contract of the psychic toad. Next, you only need to condense the chakra on the hand that signed the contract and seal Hai-Suyu Shenwei. Your proficiency in psychic techniques and the amount of chakra you consume can determine how strong the toad you psychic out is. Jiraiya raised his right hand and explained the principle of spiritism to Minato. Actually, the toads live in a settlement, and when the contractor of the blood contract activates the psychic, the toads will sense the call and come. Then, come and try. With Jiraiya's encouragement, Namikaze Minato nervously began to form seals. In terms of chakra volume, he doesn't have any special physique, which is a normal excellent level for his age. But the special feeling when signing the contract just now made him feel. Ninjutsu, psychic technique. Boom. Gillette also stared dumbfounded at the familiar orange toad in front of him. Toad-Joan? Why are you? Quack. Toad-Joan, who was wearing a loyalty necklace around his neck, was also a little confused. Originally, he thought that it was Jiraiya who summoned him, but the gorgeous debut pose specially designed to match Jiraiya's flamboyant personality was halfway. Y came out and saw a little guy with a golden hedgehog head. Although Jiraiya is also there, but look at his stupid look. Toadjone rolled his eyes and saw the contract scroll still open on the ground. A new contractor? Although Hamajone doesn't talk much, it doesn't mean he can't speak, but for his good partner Zilei, Hamajone feels that keeping silent is the best protection for IQ. So you brought the sealing scroll here, is it for this kid? Jiraiya scratched his white hair fiercely. He never imagined that Minato would get out his most trusted partner, Toad Tadashi, who usually keeps the contract scroll, for the first time. This is my disciple, Namikaze Minato. Jiraiya smiled wryly, but it was the first time he used psychic techniques just now, and the blood on the contract scroll is not dry yet. Quack, I thought you came to ask me to take back the scroll, but it turned out that you didn't ask me to come here. Toadjone stretched out his long tongue, flexibly rolled up the contract scroll, and then swallowed it into his stomach. Jiraiya, it seems that this little guy has an extraordinary talent for spiritism. Namikaze Minato stared blankly at Toad Tadashi, who ate the scroll. The relationship between the other party and Jiraiya seemed to be very good, and they chatted with each other. Mr. Jiraiya, is there something wrong? No, not at all, Minato, you've done very well. Jiraiya looked at this little disciple with complex emotions of ecstasy and embarrassment intertwined on his face. The ecstasy is because Jiraiya also understands that since Minato's chakra amount is nothing special, unlike Nawaki and Satoru, being able to channel Hamachu for the first time must show that Minato's talent in this area is very good. Protrude. Not your average genius. Necromancy is a kind of time and space ninjutsu, and it is also the most widely used time and space ninjutsu. Minato's talent is most likely related to time and space. As for embarrassment, recalling the first time I performed spiritism. Zillet also involuntarily glanced at Hamajone. Sure enough, Hamajone's seemingly eternally calm Hama's face also showed strangeness. Hey! Toadjone! Are you thinking of something impolite? Gwawenta will definitely like this news. Then I'll go first. I've taken the contract scroll. Boom! Toadjone wobbled his forelegs, took a deep look at Minato, disappeared, and returned to Mt. Miyamu. Cough, this guy. Jiraiya coughed, glanced at the confused Minato, and grinned loudly. Haha. Let's see how that Orochimaru is still laughing at me. Minato, continue. There are still many things I know, sir. Jiraiya started a new training with Minato. The mission that Satoru's team completed this time is of great significance, so they got a few days of vacation that were very precious during the war. Jiraiya went out with Minato. Wu knew about it. He brought Minato back with a smug face. Wu also saw it. Needless to ask, Jiraiya, who looks unreliable but is actually extremely shrewd, must have accepted Minato as his personal disciple and taught him carefully. Hey, Master Jiraiya is back. Enlightenment turned around, and standing with Naoki, Mikoto, and Nanoe were a pair of twin brothers. Exactly the same black and straight, exactly the same white eyes, exactly the same traditional kimono of the Hyuga family. Hyuga brothers, Hyuga Hyazu, Hyuga Hyuga. They came to look for Jiraiya with Orochimaru's order, and met Wyavu halfway. The Hyuga brothers are naturally well informed about the Wu team who just assisted Jiraiya to kill the 5 enemy Jonin. In terms of identity, except for no Naiu, the Wu team all have family backgrounds. Needless to say, Mikoto was born in the Uchiha clan, and he has already opened Urguyu at such a young age. Needless to say, Rope Tree is a descendant of the Senju clan and the Uzumaki clan, and the grandson of the first Hokage. Although the Mitaman family that Satoru came from was not a big family, his father's status as a consultant was there. Especially Wu himself, not only was promoted to Chunin earlier than them, but also a young genius who independently researched the limit of the ice escape blood successor. As long as he thinks, in the future, he alone can become a wealthy family. As for Yakushi Nanoyu, she is a special medical ninja and a disciple of Master Tsunade, and she has shown outstanding talent at such a young age, so she is naturally different from ordinary civilian ninjas. So, failing to find Jiraiya, Hinata Hayazu took his younger brother to find the Wu team that was with Jiraiya and the others not long ago. Yo! Jiraiya-sama, Minato, here, here. Shengshu jumped out to say hello. Ji-Lai also saw Nezu and Nisaya, raised his eyebrows, and walked over with Minato. I knew it, it must be the ghost of Orochimaru. After receiving the order to take a closer look, Jiraiya looked at Brother Hyuga in front of him with a big head. Hinata and Hinata, right? They've already been promoted to Chunin. It's really amazing. But thinking of the talent shown by Minato, Jiraiya is also full of confidence. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziyu. Chapter 84. Chapter 84 Konoha's Strongest Family. We are ordered by the frontline commander Orochimaru to come and join your team, Master Jiraiya. Hinata glanced at the blonde boy next to Jiraiya, raised his eyebrows slightly. He had investigated it before coming, and this is the best graduate of this year. Although a commoner. Namikaze Minato Jr., I am Hinata Hayazu, this is my younger brother, Hinata Nishize, from now on, we will be teammates. Hinata looked at Namikaze Minato with a calm expression, and rarely greeted him proactively. Hyuga Hayazu, who was put together by Orochimaru, already understood that since he became Jiraiya's disciple, the junior in front of him is not just a commoner. That is the direct line of Naruto. As for the other student who was seriously injured and still resting, he was a child of the Konoha family Akitao. Although it is not a direct inheritance, it is enough to attract the attention of Hyuga Hayazu. Such a combination is eligible to be their teammates. Ah, Senior Nezuzu, please teach me more in the future. Namikaze Minato smiled slightly. Jiraiya will go to the battlefield soon, and he has also heard about the fact that the team will add new members. It's just that I didn't expect these two brothers to join. Haha, Minato, your new team is strong, we need to communicate more. Wu rolled his eyes, stepped forward and patted Minato on the shoulder. Nichizu and Nisei are Chunin, and their Hinata family's physical and fighting skills are top-notch, you should learn more from them. And, Bien, two supercilious ninjas, this is really a luxury. Wu also greeted Nezu and Richa brothers. You two, don't look at Minato like this. It's his first time on the battlefield. He has been dealing with Ninja Yujino who is good at assassination for a long time. I was almost stunned. Senior Wu, I was the one saved by you in the end. Minato scratched his head in embarrassment. Although he vaguely felt that Satoru was helping him, he, who had just learned psychic skills, also had this confidence and would not be looked down upon by these two new seniors. Senior Wu, I really didn't expect that. I've seen all the three types of blood inheritance boundary in the village. Huh. Yes, I haven't noticed yet. Hinata Hayazu raised his eyebrows. Team Wu's Sharinan, Bingdun, plus his own white eyes, have indeed made up the limit of the three blood successors known to Konoha. Hey, Rizu, what's the matter, do you want to come to our team? I always think that the 5-person team looks more pleasing to the eye, or you can also come by Rizu. Hey. Boy Wu, are you poaching in front of me? Jiraiya held Wu's head and rubbed it hard. You brat, I'll report to Orochimaru later. Immediately, he laughed again. Return to the 5-person team, you dare to think. If you agree to let Yaneiyu come here, I can consider giving you a supercilious look. Hey. Don't even think about it. Wu contemptuously said, be careful, I will ask Master Tsunade to complain to you, just say that you peeped on her, ugh. Good boy. Zilla also embraced Wu under the weird eyes of everyone around him, and whispered flatteringly. Hey. Don't hurt me, you brat. I was just joking. Young man, one day you will realize how sacred it is for a grown-up to focus on appreciating the beautiful. Brother, are these people really suitable? Hyuga Hinata, who had been silent all this time, finally couldn't bear it any longer. He lowered his head slightly, took a step forward, and said in a low voice to Hinata. This Jiraiya-sama is really as exhausted as the rumors say, he is really not a good teacher. Although he is about to go to the battlefield, I doubt whether the disciples he teaches can become reliable companions. Naze, we are here not just to go to the battlefield, there are too many excellent ninjas in Konoha, there is no shortage of two of us. Hyuga Hinata's lips moved slightly, and his voice was as thin as a mosquito, only Hinata who was closest to him could hear. This war is the best opportunity for the younger generation to rise up. As the future patriarch, I must personally observe, experience, and even make friends with these talented young people for the sake of the Hyuga clan. The Hyuga clan's title of Konoha's strongest family is too high profile, but at present, our clan does not have a strong man who can hold the title. Hide your strengths and bide your time, and at the same time make friends with the younger generation to lay a solid foundation for future development, which is what we should do. My elder brother is far-sighted. Hinata nodded slightly, with a smile on his face. Although he was engraved with a curse mark as a branch of the family, his elder brother had to arm himself with a serious face to show his majesty because of his status as the heir of the clan. But in the battle not long ago, the elder brother who was supposed to be protected by himself as a branch family subconsciously stood between himself and the enemy. The elder brother is still the elder brother, and he has already shown the outstanding vision and consideration that he should have as the head of the clan. For him, I can die. All of this has nothing to do with the family. Ha! Rizuru, Rise, when you were in school, you always ignored my challenges. Now I am different from before. Jiraiya was arguing with Satoru, and Minato was asking Mikoto about ninja throwing skills. Seeing that no one was paying attention to him, Nawaka jumped in front of brother Hinata. Although you are a little bit older than me, in terms of battle, I should be qualified to challenge you now. Hinata Hyuga raised his eyebrows. Their brothers are in the same class as Naoki, so they are naturally very familiar with this guy who clamors all day long to become Hokage. When Naruto was in school, he tried to challenge one of them more than once, but was rejected by Nezuru without exception. At that time, we were all students. Although you are a descendant of Qianshao and Uzumaki, you were not very strong back then. Hizuru said flatly what he thought at the time. You also know that the Hyuga family's soft fist, the attack on the Meridian system, was too dangerous for you who only knew basic ninjutsu at that time. If we fail to hold back and hurt you, father will have to spend time explaining to Mito-sama, this is really not easy. Seeing Naoki's complexion becoming weird, Hyuga Hinata also laughed. He nodded slightly to Naoki, and said, if it's in an ordinary family, it doesn't have to be like this, but both your identity and our identity are more sensitive. And you didn't seem to understand this much back then, so my brother and I avoided fighting. This is the main reason. Rise looked at Hizuki, who nodded slightly. Nishize turned to Naoki, and stretched out his right hand. Now, we are all real ninjas who have experienced the battlefield. If you still insist on competing, I can accompany you. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 85. Chapter 85 The Awareness of the Rat. Naruki is gearing up to make an appointment with Hinata for a competition. Obviously not now. During the war there were no extra medical resources to deal with their injuries from the competition. Knowing this, Satoru took Nashiki to find Orochimaru, and Nanoe went to the medical class to help as usual, while Mikoto fought against Minato and helped Minato practice ninja throwing. Although Mikan wondered why Satoru was so optimistic about this seemingly weak junior, but after she actually practiced against him, she realized what it was like to be hit by a genius in the field she is best at. Although Minato only uses ninja throwing as a low-priority auxiliary method, his amazing learning ability is an eye-opener for Mikoto. It's a bit like casting fire escape in front of Wukong, it's really shocking. The reason why Minato asked Mikoto to teach him how to throw ninja tools was because Minato discovered in the previous battle that his methods of fighting the enemy were too monotonous. Originally, Jiraiya wanted to spend all his time practicing spiritism, but he didn't expect Minato's talent for space-time ninjutsu to be so high, and the practice time of spiritism was greatly shortened. Therefore, Minato has time to choose other means to enhance combat effectiveness. And learning the advanced throwing skills of Shuriken and Konoha is one of the options, which can cooperate with his excellent reflexes and significantly improve his shortcomings. In the previous battle, Mikoto used the Uchiha clan's advanced ninja throwing skills, which left a deep impression on Minato. Then Satoru told him some stories about Jiraiya. This is a complaint I heard from Orochimaru. If it comes to the combat method that Jiraiya is the least good at, this is it. Shuriken, the art of throwing everything out. This is Jiraiya's version of Shuriken shadow clone art. After hearing this allusion, Minato immediately went to Jiraiya, expressing that he wanted to see the Shuriken shadow clone technique, and made Jiraiya blush. He knows the shadow clone, he also knows the Shuriken, but the Shuriken shadow clone technique. That's the technique that Orochimaru is good at. A ninja like me who is proficient in escapism doesn't focus on that. So Minato had to reluctantly believe that what Satoru said was true. Minato, who is only 10 years old, can learn the B-level shadow clone, but he can learn advanced shuriken throwing first, and after learning the shadow clone, he can learn the A-level shuriken shadow clone technique. Although there is no super dynamic visual aid of Sharingan, Minato's excellent reflex nerves allowed him to quickly master the basic skills, and the rest just needs continuous practice. It was precisely because of this that Mikan was hit hard, before Sharingan opened her eyes. This was the progress of Mikan's hard work for a year. The Hyuga brothers who were on the sidelines were also amazed by the talent shown by Minato, and they began to pay more attention to this junior who was almost 3 years younger than them. And back to Wu and Naoki, they were discussing an important matter with Dashimaru in a secret meeting room. You already have the confidence to guide Senshi's Uzumaki clan's innate ability. But how can you be sure that this natural ability exists? Orochimaru frowned slightly, he knew exactly what this meant. Senshu already possessed some of the physical characteristics of the Uzumaki clan before, and after the treatment of life crystals extracted from the cells between the columns, his vitality and chakra volume have been far greater than ordinary people, basically reaching the level that the Uzumaki clan should have. That is to say, on the surface, Senshu's Uzumaki family physique should have been activated. But the characteristics of the Uzumaki family are not only vitality and huge chakra. Sealing technique, this is the fundamental reason why the Uzumaki family was attacked and exterminated. Although Naoki was taught by his grandma Uzumaki Mito, his talent in this area does not seem to be very good. As for one of the strongest sealing techniques, King Kong's blockade, it is only possible for the descendants of the red-haired Uzumaki clan to use it, so Senshu basically doesn't have to think about it. Chakra perception, this is another very practical ability that the Uzumaki clan may have, and the second-generation Hokage Senju Togma, who is the second grandfather of the Senshou clan and Roki, also has a powerful chakra perception ability. Enlightenment just wanted to guide the ability that both the Naoki Uzumaki and Senshou clan bloodlines might possess. Satoru's team still lacks perceptual ninjas, the eyes of the mage are only used to expand vision, and it is useless for things that cannot be seen. In other words, in directional investigation, the eyes of the mage can play a part of the role of white eyes, but in terms of comprehensiveness and detail, it is still not comparable to perception. More importantly, Wu can use the power of arcane analysis to improve detection spells through the process of guiding this talent, and it is best to achieve an effect similar to opening a map. This is no longer something Wu can handle alone, so Wu needs the help of Orochimaru. This ability was mentioned by Grandma when she taught me the sealing technique, and I didn't know about it at first. Naoki recalled Uzumaki Mito's words. The Uzumaki family has a secret technique Kagura Mind Eye, which can even perceive chakras in a radius of tens of kilometers. At the same time, as Ninetales Jinchuriki, she also has the ability to perceive maliciousness. Thousand Hands is even more exaggerated, he can even perceive the chakra reaction thousands of miles away without relying on any secret technique. As a rope tree who is a descendant of two bloodlines, Jinchuriki's malicious perception is unnecessary, but chakra perception is very likely to be possessed. No matter how bad it is also very good to be able to use this to cultivate the secret technique Kagura Mind Eye. Well, that's the reason. I wasn't in a hurry before. It was because I was thinking about how to increase the success rate. Satoru glanced at Naoki, who was rubbing his head and laughing, and sighed. Who knew that this guy actually reached a challenge agreement with Hinata Hisashi? At this moment, no matter what the result is, our two teams will become competitors. Facing Hyaga's team with two pairs of blank eyes, we are under a lot of pressure. Recently, I have discovered more and more our detection shortcomings. If they are a reconnaissance, maneuver, and physical team, then we are a comprehensive team with ninjutsu, physical, illusion, and support. I told Jiraiya-sama before that I wanted Hinata to come to our place to form a 5-member team, but it was obviously rejected. Enlightenment gritted his teeth, obviously he still had some grudges about the standard 5-member team model. If Shenshu can successfully awaken the perception ability, then we are truly an all-round team with no shortcomings, and the probability of successfully surviving on the battlefield will also rise sharply. Wow, Shenshu's eyes widened, so I'm so powerful. It's just possible. Satoru unceremoniously hit Naoki's self-confidence. There is not much time, and although we are not sure, it is still possible. Even if you are unlucky and cannot awaken this talent, it will not have any bad effects. This is an experiment with great reference value. Maybe we can use this experiment as a basis to deduce some characteristics of the bloodlines of the two races. Orochimaru thinks more. He is still obsessed with Mudun. If it is not a time of war, he would have gone back to his laboratory to study. Nodding his head, Orochimaru showed a very interested look. Basically, such a thing that someone volunteered to be an experimental subject, Orochimaru always dreamed of. After pretentiously reminding him of the danger and arranging the affairs in hand, Yuan happily began to study the guidance plan with Wu. And the little white mouse Naoki was still unconsciously immersed in the excitement of becoming stronger. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 86. Chapter 86, The Green Leaf of Spirit. In the past few days when Jiraiya led Minato's surprise teaching, Akemi Shimaru's injuries have basically recovered. After eating and drinking, he was resurrected like all Akemika's members. And his family's secret art education, after the arrival of his cousin Chiudeo Dingzo, he had someone to point him out. Yoshimaru, it's a good thing you're fine. I was shocked when I heard about you when I came back. Chiudeo Dingzo was practicing with his cousin, instructing him to practice family secrets, and he patted his stomach with lingering fear. I knew that you were accepted as a disciple by Master Jiraiya, and I was pleasantly surprised. Who knew that I hadn't seen you for such a short time, so I became frightened. Brother Dingza, am I useless? Minato was able to react to the sneak attack of the Jounin, but I can only hold back. Akemi Shimaru sat down on the ground out of breath, feeling depressed. In terms of talent, Dingzo, who is the direct descendant of Chiu Taoist school, is the best, and with Captain Umbu as the leading teacher, Ding Zhou's progress is not a star. Although he is only more than a year older than his cousin, the result of the current battle is that Ding Zhou can press Yoshimaru on the ground and rub at will. To be favored by Master Jiraiya, your talent is not bad anyway. Ding Zhou walked to Yoshimaru and sat down, smiled and patted him on the shoulder. Your situation now is almost the same as when I first met Wu. The suffocating feeling of being suppressed by a genius partner, isn't it? Brother Wu, Akimi Shimaru recalled what Jiraiya and Minato told him about what happened during his time of poisoning and coma. His eyes sparkled. Brother Wu is really amazing. If he didn't lead the team to help, Minato and I would be dead. Hey, silly boy, Ding Zhou put on a mature face. I know this guy's character best. Generally speaking, he will only show at most half of his strength in front of outsiders. What do you think about his ice escape? Grinding his teeth hard, Ding Zhou complained, I dare say, this guy has mastered Bingdun before he graduated, and even the few of us didn't reveal any news. If it wasn't for saving Naoki-senpai, he would still be hiding. When he went to meet you, Fengdun and physical skills were useless, right? He can suppress me with these two. Always keep one, no, several moves? This is Wu's combat style. I have known him for so long, and I have never seen him go all out, including the missions on the front line these days. Ding Zhou's team and Wu's team also often cooperated in battles in the front line missions, and they were very impressed with the several cooperative battles. Wu has basically used ice escape and water escape since the exposure of ice escape. Fire escape, wind escape, and even body skills are not used much. Dante knows very well that these are not discarded, but become Wu's whole cards. And that rebellious transfiguration. Ding Zhou shivered involuntarily, coughed dryly, and maintained his image in front of his cousin. So, don't look at me like this now, it's several times easier for Wu to deal with me than it is for me to deal with you. I'm under a lot of pressure. Even with the three of Zuladi, we regained some confidence, but he also has teammates. Really desperate? Akimi Shimaru nodded earnestly with his chin propped up, and thinking about Minato, he looked at his cousin with pity. He felt himself balanced all of a sudden. The corner of Ding Zhou's mouth twitched, he coughed dryly and concluded. So, the three of us have the same opinion. Although we are not that genius, geniuses also need help. It is enough to be ourselves. Minato's talent is amazing, but just like Satoru, he is also a person who cares about his companions. I trust Satoru's judgment on this point. If he is trustworthy, then trust him. It's the two from the Hinata family, he. Ding Zhou frowned. As the heir to the patriarch of Chiudeo school, his vision was not much lower than that of Hinata Hyazu. Although because of his age, his experience is still not as good as Hinata Hidesu, but Ding Zhou's way of thinking has gradually been affected after spending these years with Wu. This guy is too utilitarian. The Hinata clan is like this. They think Konoha and the others are the biggest. Also with bodyguards from the branch family, cut. Family. Branch family. What's that? Yoshimaru was not a direct descendant, so he obviously didn't know the information that only the top of the big family knew. This, you don't need to know now, so as not to cause trouble. In short, you remember, the Hyuga clan, you can't trust everything. In comparison, I believe that the separated Hyuga Nazashi will care more about his companions. Ding Zhou's little face became serious, and he told Yoshimaru seriously, Yoshimaru has never seen his cousin so serious before. Remember, although the Hyuga brothers are Chunin, and Hyuga Hyazu is the captain, but in times of crisis, the only person you can trust and rely on is Minato Namikaze. If you are being bullied, don't be afraid of them, not only me, Luju, Haiyi, and even Wu are your backing. Oh, Ming, I see. Yoshimaru tried his best to open his eyes wide and squinted, but Dingzo's words were so heavy that he couldn't help swallowing. Huh. The two of them are here, it seems that there is a mission, so I'll go first. Seeing Narashikasa and Yamanaka Kai approaching, Choza stretched and stood up, waving to Yoshimaru. Come on, you can't make flowers, but you need to be energetic to make green leaves. Yes. Brother Dingzo. It's done. From this point of view, the current plan should be possible. An infirmary at the front line base, where Orochimaru, Satoru, and Tsunade gather. It is obvious that Tsunade cannot get around the rope tree, and Tsunade is obviously very interested in what they are going to do. As Nawaka's older sister, Tsunade seems to have inherited some of the characteristics of Senjujima's lineage. She is also very curious whether the power of the blood can be channeled out as they imagined. If someone else told me about this, I would definitely punch him flying. Tsunade half closed his eyes, looking dangerously at Orochimaru and Satoru, who were shocked. You two are people I trust, well, both in theory and in practice, so I won't say much. There is only one, if there is any abnormality, stop immediately. He, don't worry, Tsunade. Orochimaru held the deduced spell in his hand, his eyes lit up, it must be fine. You also participated in the derivation. You should know that there is no danger at all. Well, in enchantment, the standard process of material analysis, decomposition, reconstruction, attachment, strictly speaking, is just a guide and will not affect the original material. Wu spread his hands. It's like using a magnet to attract the iron powder in the sand to the surface to form a protective layer, which will not affect the original function of the sand. Seeing Orochimaru and Tsunade looking thoughtful, Wu clapped his hands. Time is urgent, the task waits for no one, we will talk about those later, let's get started. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziyu. Chapter 87. Chapter 87, The New Sharp Knife. No surprises, Satoru led, Dashimaru and Tsunade assisted in the magic instrument, so that Naoki successfully awakened the perception ability. It is the special passive chakra perception, on the basis of which, Shenshu quickly practiced the active secret technique Kagura Mind Eye. Although I don't know whether it is from the bloodline of Thousand Hands or Uzumaki, and the range of perception is not that large, but with the training of Naoshu, it is more than enough to serve as a team detection. This represents the further improvement of Team Wu's in-depth combat capabilities. The situation on the battlefield has changed again, because Sanchoyo Hanzo suddenly turned against the water and listed the land as the target of attack, resulting in a large number of Iwagakure ninjas being attacked and killed by allies. 3 generations of Tsuchika Joniki was furious, and he did not hesitate to fight against Ugakushi while guarding against Umagakure. At the same time, Hidden Rain Village was also at war with Konoha, but Hidden Rain Village was not under such great pressure in the country of wind. The goal of the Kingdom of Wind has never been the small place where it rains all the year round like the Kingdom of Rain, but the fertile land of the Kingdom of Fire. Therefore, although there are also battles with Yuyin, what they value more is the battle with Konoha. It is their short-term goal to advance the battle line to the territory of Konoha. One more important point is that Sanchoyo Hanzo fought several times with Sagakushi advisor and puppet master Cho, but they couldn't take advantage of it at all. Hanzo is good at using poison, and Cho is not only a powerful puppeteer, but also a top medical ninja. Hanzo fought against Cho several times, his poison was repeatedly cracked by Cho, but he couldn't find any way to deal with the opponent's puppet. Therefore, the arrogant Hanzo also had to give up his attack on Sagakure, and keep a tacit understanding. Although they are not allies, they can deal with Konoha together. And this caused the pressure on Konoha's line of defense against Sand Hidden to increase sharply, and it had to move back by as much as half the distance. The high-level Konoha has taken decisive measures. The current Konoha has the confidence to win this war. Orochimaru stepped down as the commander of the border fortress in the Land of the Rain, teamed up with Tsunade and Jiraiya, and began to carry out a large number of A-level and even S-level war missions in order to suppress the enemy at the level of elite combat power. The new commander is the eldest son of Hirozuru Sarutobi, the third generation of Konoha Hokage, and the captain of Konoha Anbi. The reason why he became the eldest son? It's because not long ago, the third generation of Hokage Sarutobi Hirozaki added a new child, and got another son, named Sarutobi Asuma. Naruto-sama welcomes new recruits, which seems to have boosted the morale of the Konoha ninjas to a certain extent. The birth of a new generation means that everything they have done to protect the village is worthwhile. Captain Umbu presides over the war, and facing Yinyan village's shrinking forces to concentrate on dealing with Yuyan and Sandian village's behavior of desperately advancing the front line, Konoha's high-level officials decided to add a sharp knife to the wind defense line. At present, the highest combat strength of Konoha Hidden Village is probably 2 people, except for the third generation of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, who is in his prime. Also in the prime of life, Satoru's father, high-ranking advisor Mitamon Yan, and Hokage's assistant, the leader of Root, Shimura Danzo. This is basically recognized by everyone, second only to the powerful combat power of the third Hokage. Even Konoha's 2 biggest giants, Uchiha's contemporary patriarch, and Hyuga's contemporary patriarch, are also inferior to them in combat power. And under these middle-aged people, there are excellent young people. Among the elite Jounin, Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Captain Umbu, etc. basically belong to the top group, but no matter who, knowing that above them, there is another young man who sits on the peak alone. Konoha White Teeth by Sakumo Hatake. In Konoha, where ninjutsu is the mainstream, swordsmanship surpasses all the elite Jounin in Konoha. In terms of fighting alone, no young Jounin is his opponent. Hatake Sakumo is a true genius, with a hearty personality and courage to move forward. He not only has the ruthlessness to sacrifice for the rules, but also has an ardent affection for his companions. He has won the trust of Konoha's senior management and the respect of his peers. Even Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Tsunade, such outstanding geniuses, can only sigh to themselves in front of Konoha Baiga. As the top-level conventional combat force that Konoha can dispatch, Hatake Sakumo's previous task was to wander around Konoha when the Jonin were leading students, clean up spies from various countries, and ensure that Konoha itself would not threatened by war. But now, the Jonin brought their students back to the team and went to the front line to participate in the battle. At the same time, there was a change in the front line. Hatake Sakumo went to the front line according to the order of the high level. With his strong combat power and reputation, Hatake Sakumo's mission is to completely block the desperately advancing Sand Hidden Village front outside the Fire Nation, and even push it back. Originally, I wanted Sakumo to be Satoru's instructor, but at that time, on the one hand, Tsunade and Orochimaru brought up the matter, and on the other hand, I also had some concerns. In Konoha Hidden Village, Mito Minyan and Zwanju Koharu stood on the terrace, looking at the magnificent Hokage Yinyan on the opposite side. They had just finished a meeting with the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiraku, and decided on the strategy for the front line, and now they came out to get some air. Hizaru's room was full of smoke, and the two endured it very hard. Hee, that kid likes to study ninjutsu. You made a mistake by giving him to Sakumo. It was right to choose Orochimaru, who is good at ninjutsu. Turning to bed, Koharu gave Mitamonian a white look, and shook his head. Wu doesn't even want to learn your hidden weapon technique. Do you think he will like Shuomao's sword technique? Whether it is strong or not is one thing, but if you don't like it, you can't cultivate the essence. That's the reason. Mitamonian scratched his chin in embarrassment. He won the trust and praise of the Jonin with his calm, experienced and accurate judgment on the affairs of the village, but he was the only one who didn't care about his son. Method. He learned the cudgel technique of the Chiu Taoist school before. I thought he was interested in melee weapons, so he planned this way. After all, Shuomao is the most powerful among young people. Besides that, you should have other concerns, right? Turning to sleep, Xiaochun showed an expression of I understand everything. Although Shuomao is strong, his foundation is too weak and he has no background. You and I both know what such hidden dangers are. Although Hiruzen is still in his prime, with the growth rate of Sakumo, Orochimaru, and Jiraiya, it will only take a few years to reach his height. At that time, Rijan will inevitably face a choice, and Shuomao's shortcoming will become. After a pause, Xiaochun sighed involuntarily when he turned to bed. This reminds me of the time when Hiruzen just succeeded Hokage. Yeah, Mito Minion nodded, with a trace of nostalgia on his face. At that time, it was really hard to describe. It's really too sudden. Teacher's departure and Hiruzen's succession are all too sudden. Although it is backed by the Sarutobi clan, the situation at that time was that the village was in turmoil outside the village, and the interior was unstable. The death of the teacher made several big families ready to move. They don't think they are weaker than the Sarutobi clan. Mitomonian pushed his glasses, and his eyes became deep. Xiaochun, the first generation of Hokage Hashimisama, suppressed the world with powerful strength, and he was unconvinced. He established a village and assigned tailed beasts. His reputation is extremely high. Second generation Hokage Toikuma Sensei was originally a veteran who fought with the first generation master, a strong man of the same generation, Ninja World's #1 shinobi. At the same time, when the first generation master was around, most of the things in the village were actually managed by the teacher. Therefore, no one will object to Sensei's succession to the second Hokage, or if I say something offensive, as far as managing the village is concerned, Sensei has done a better job than the first Hokage. But Rijan, at that time, he didn't have any foundation. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 88. Chapter 88. Look at what you said, Rijan at least has us. Turning to bed, Xiaochun was silent for a moment, then forced a smile, although, we useless guys didn't help him too much. Behind you and me, there is no family that can help him, and Danzo, oh. That was the most effective way that Hiruzen could think of at that time, wasn't it? Mitomonian looked at the head portrait of Sarutobi Hiruzen on the Hokage Yanyan, with a smile on the corner of his mouth. Patting the guardrail in front of him, Mitomonian's tone was full of emotion. Actually, we were all like headless chickens at the time. Hiruzen didn't have a unique blood succession limit, nor did he have a strange secret technique. Even the ninjutsu practiced to perfection, it was after becoming Hokage. In order to show the determination of taking the village as our home, the first generation adults made the Qianshao clan unbelievably low-key. And the passing of the teacher made the Thousand Hands clan directly choose to disappear from the public sight because of that matter. This is also the last bit of help they can give for Rijan's superior position. The Konoha giants and big families represented by Uchiha and Hinata are all watching the joke of Hinata. Although they wouldn't object to the 3 Hokage set by the teacher, but to take him out of the way to benefit themselves was almost an open attitude at that time. That's right, the only one Sun Jian could rely on at that time were the few of us who were taught by the teacher at the end. Turning to bed, Koharu looked back at the Hokage building. In the office with the window open, Hiruzen Sarutobi was still reviewing documents. So Rijan's strategy, based on the few of us, is to actively befriend the rich and powerful families and stabilize the situation. At that time, it was undoubtedly very successful. Kamada represents the Uchiha clan. Although he and the Uchiha's mainstream ideas are not consistent, but with his strength and reputation, the Uchiha clan has at least not provoked trouble. The Akimichi clan who took the wind is originally a family that has been bonded with the Sarutobi clan for generations. Together with the Nara and Yamanaka clans of the same nature, their efforts have made the big clans gradually change their attitudes. As for the remaining giants, the Hyuga clan, they also gained a stable situation by giving them complete autonomy over a certain amount of clan land. I have to say, the teacher has a very accurate eye on people. Zhuangzi Xiaochun concluded, at least if it is Danzo, I don't think he will adopt this strategy. But at the end of the day, Danzo is also an important part of this strategy. If there is chaos, it needs to be suppressed, and Hizen, who is friendly to the wealthy and powerful families, cannot have such stains, not to mention the Shimura family behind Danzo, which is also one of the powerful families. Mitamon Yan's eyes are deep. As Sarutobi Hiruzen's classmate and also a disciple of the second generation of Hokage Senshou Tomonin, he is very aware of the competition between Danzo and Hiruzen. The hesitation at the last moment prevented Danzo from the position of Hokage, so Danzo was also someone Hiruzen had to deal with or to appease. This means of appeasement is Root. The existence of Danzo and Root has indeed largely enabled the village to survive many crises at that time, even now. Mitamonian glanced at the Hokage building, then turned to Zhuangziao-kun, and said softly. It's just that, Xiao-chun, we have to face up to one thing, our existence actually divides Rizhan's power. We may not be able to see anything now. After all, we have not encountered a situation that can make our opinions significantly different, but if there is such a day. Turning to sleep, Xiao-chun turned to Mitamonian, but only saw the white light on the other's glasses. This is almost inevitable. If there is such a day, are you worried, the village's leadership structure will face the danger of splitting? Yes. Mitamonian didn't evade this question, and Xiao-chun didn't pretend to be ignorant either. With the development of the village, the two consultants, who are known for their calm and accurate analysis of problems, are obviously very clear about the changes that will gradually take place in the power that was dispersed in order to quickly stabilize the regime of the three generations of Hokage. Danzo, he has already made some small moves. Although it doesn't seem like a big deal, and it hasn't caused any real impact, it's a sign. Danzo's actions began to become more and more secretive, and we even couldn't find tangible evidence of his actions in many cases, especially. A stern look flashed in Mitamonian's eyes. He actually sent someone to take advantage of Rizhan's order in front of Wu's face, trying to rob his classmates. I also think Danzo has done a good job in this matter. Zhuangzi Xiaochun frowned. Fortunately, Wu was up to the challenge. At that time, he almost killed 2 Root members in seconds. For this reason, Danzo asked Hiruzen Sarutobi to protest. If the three of us can't work together to help Rizhan stabilize the situation, how long will the village be able to maintain its current prosperity? That's why I regret even more, if the mirror is still there. Thinking of his former comrades in arms again, Mitamonian smiled wryly and shook his head. If the mirror is still there, I can't even imagine what Danzo would be like now. Perhaps it is the easing of the attitude towards the Uchiha clan that has caused Danzo to lose patience with Hizen, especially after the two of us made our statement last time. Danzo's attitude towards Uchiha has never changed. Even if he was intimidated by Hiruzen's order and used Root instead of Umbu to monitor Uchiha, I am afraid he did not do little tricks. It is really troublesome. Yan, I didn't expect you to become so sentimental. Zhuangzi Xiaochun patted his old comrade and colleague on the shoulder, and comforted him. Rizhan has opened up the situation for the village, at least in terms of cultivating the younger generation, hasn't it? Ashimaru, Jiraiya, and Tsunade, these 3 are outstanding young people. Going back to the topic just now, if the next generation of Hokage is born from them, at least the same problems as back then will not happen. After a pause, Xiaochun turned to bed and said seriously. But if Sakumo really proves that he can make Orochimaru and the others admire him, and convince other families. He also has that qualification, no matter how bad it is, there are a few of us old guys, we haven't reached the point of cronyism yet. Haha. Mitamonian smiled and shook his head. That's right, our belief is always based on the interests of the village, it has always been in the past, and it will continue to be in the future. No matter how much Hiruzen thinks about Orochimaru, and how much I think about Wu, it still depends on them in the end. That dead child, Wu, is actually still talking about staying at home until he dies, he is a real bastard. After complaining angrily, Vitamin N turned around amidst Koharu's low laughter, and walked towards the Hokage building. Let's go, that guy Rijan, the smell of smoke should be almost gone, huh? You just had a baby, so I don't know how to restrain myself. Well, Lake Biwa has just given birth, and he is strictly prohibited from smoking at home, so let's take care of it for a while. In the Hokage building, the windows of the office are open, and the smoke has cleared away. Third Hokage Hiruza Sarutobi put down the document in his hand, squeezed the center of his brows hard, let out a breath of smoke slowly, and glanced at the two old comrades who were returning on the terrace. Yan, Xiaochun, without the support of the two of you, I would really be powerless. Rarely showing a trace of fatigue, Hiruzen Sarutobi took a deep breath on his pipe, his eyes became firm again. Thank you, it's my lack of ability that causes so many things to be dealt with. But for the stability of the village and the future of the young people, even if they are charged with compromise, cowardice, and incompetence, I am willing to. P.S. I just flipped through the settings and found an interesting thing. In the original Naruto, the description of chakra mentioned that energy is extracted from 130 trillion cells in the human body. According to the setting of trillions in Japan, 1 trillion equal 1 trillion, that is, the number of human cells in the ninja world is about 130 trillion. But the number of human cells on Earth is 40-60 trillion. The height and weight of ninjas are completely templates of Earthlings, even Japanese templates. In other words, the physical strength of ninjas in the ninja world is about 3 times that of people on Earth. At first, this seemed to be nothing, but think about it again, with such physical fitness, how fast is the marching speed? The army's rapid marching speed is about 10 km per hour with ninja and chakra assistance, 40 km per hour is not too much. Marching for 10 hours a day is 400 km a day. The original book takes 3 days from Konoha to Cheyenne, 1200 km. Almost the distance from Beijing to Shanghai. A month's walk to Mt. Miamu is 12,000 kilometers. 12,960 kilometers from Beijing to Cape Town, the capital of South Africa. The diameter of the Earth is 12,742 kilometers. According to this calculation, the 5 major ninja countries are almost the size of China, and the ninja planet is about the same size as the Earth. There should be a large area of unknown land west of the country of wind. This village in Konoha is actually a super metropolis, the promised ninja world is very small, _ You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 89. Chapter 89 The Origin of Konoha White Fang. The arrival of Konoha White Fang Hatake Sakumo gave a shot in the arm to the Konoha ninjas on the wind defense line. And since Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Tsunade reformed the Sunin team, and the Jainin who led the students also stepped into the battlefield one after another, the pressure on Konoha's defense line against Igakura was greatly reduced for a while. Therefore, the Yin defense line was arranged by the high level as a training place for ordinary ninja teams to quickly adapt to the battlefield. The elite Genin and Shinin squads that can truly stand on their own began to shift their combat focus to the wind defense line. Satoru's team and Inakacho's team are all listed here, and the Hyuga brothers' team, because of the outstanding performance of Namikaze Minato and Akemi Shimaru, was also sent to the Kaze defense line. It is said that it is the defense line of the wind, but it is actually within the territory of the Kingdom of Rain, but now the defense line is closer to the border of the Kingdom of Fire. Their mission here is to push back the line of defense. Konoha, I've heard your name for a long time, and it's like thunder. Satoru has not met this legendary figure who surpasses almost all Jonin in this era in person. Probably because of his super strength, Heitake Sakumo spends more time performing difficult and important tasks. Therefore, Heitake Sakumo has not brought any students so far. Satoru didn't know that he almost became Sakumo Heitake's student, but he still had a little interest in swordsmanship. After all, this is also an effective means of killing teachers. Konoha Shireto Heitake Sakumo, as the father of the 55th opening banner Kakashi, is a bug in this era, and the battle that made him Megatron Ninja World will probably not be long. When the defense line saw Heitake Sakumo for the first time, Satoru looked at the white hedgehog head and couldn't help but want to complain. Hedgehog head with ponytail, this taste, tisk tisk. Hey, enlightenment, Mikoto, Nanoyu, Naoki said mysteriously to the three of them. Do you know how Master Sakumo got the title Konoha White Fang? The Inakacho team and Hyuga team next to him couldn't help but move over when they heard Naoki's deliberately lowered but still clear words. They have heard of this name a long time ago, but they really don't know its origin. Everyone seems to be avoiding discussing this issue. Isn't it because of the chakra dagger he is famous for, called White Fang? Enlightenment scratched his head. This is reasonable. Is there any other reason? Tisk tisk, that's just an official statement. Seeing that everyone surrounded him with interest, including Brother Hyuga, Naoki couldn't help but cleared his throat triumphantly. It is said that Lord Shuomo has developed an astonishing physical technique. Although it is only E-level, it has extremely terrifying lethality. A look of fear appeared on Naoshu's face, and his voice lowered again. It is said that this technique will cause those who are hit to experience the pain of dying for 1,000 years. For Mr. Shuomo, who is good at melee combat, this is a secret and mysterious physical technique. Oh! Everyone was amazed, but Wu felt that the more he listened, the more wrong it became. Esoteric. Profound meaning? Gymnastics. Contacting Sakumo's son Kakashi, Satoru's brain twitched and his face wrinkled. No way. The name of this esoteric technique is called Millennium Kill. Shenshu seriously told the gossip he knew. And Sakumo-sama is called Konoha's White Fang precisely because of this terrifying physical technique, which is the origin of Konoha White Fang. Wow, so amazing. The corners of Wu's eyes twitched crazily. As soon as the name Millennium Killer came out, he knew he had guessed right. What a weird legend. Heitake Sakumo lost all his coolness. Okay. How did you know? Resisting the urge to throw Naoki out immediately, Wukong glanced at Naoki's, behind him subconsciously, making him scratch his butt subconsciously. Have you ever experienced this trick? No, no, no. I don't want to experience such a terrible move. Shenshu hurriedly shook his head and waved his hands again and again, but he seemed to ignore the subtle eyes of other people. I don't know what kind of mystery it is, but in the past, Master Jiraiya pursued it, when he came to find my sister, he told me many stories. It is said that he has seen this move before, and the power is indeed so powerful that people will be terrified just by seeing it. Oh. So it's Jiraiya. A gentle male voice sounded behind Shenshu. The next time I see him, I will thank him very much, but now. Shenshu shuddered, and the newly awakened perception began to alarm crazily, but Konoha's secret body technique, profound art, Millennium Kill. Puff. Wu covered his forehead, unable to bear to look directly. Mikan and Nunaiyu blushed, looking down at the ground, like two quails. Dingza Akimichi, Shikasa Nara and Kiki Yamanaka are indeed a secret combination with a tacit understanding. The three of them covered their buttocks in unison, looking terrified. Brother Hyuga opened his mouth wide, dumbfounded, and the veins around his white eyes popped out. Namikaze Minato and Akimi Shimaru looked at each other in confusion, and saw the same worry in each other's eyes. Teacher Jiraiya, can you bear it? The rope tree that was hit by the esoteric technique flew out directly. Then, Shenshu, whose physique had been greatly strengthened, lay on the ground clutching his buttocks, twitching endlessly. That little purple face, what a miserable word. Where the rope tree was originally standing, a figure with a white hedgehog head, wearing a Konoha forehead guard, and a ninja battle vest slowly stood up. Well, just used 20% of my strength, Tsunade's younger brother, just kidding, haha. Heitake Sakumo smiled gently, and this smile caught everyone's eyes, making them all shiver in unison. Hello, I'm Jonin Heitake Sakumo, you three teams, I've heard about it before I came. Gentle but sharp eyes swept over Satoru, Mikoto, and Hyuga brothers. Heitake Sakumo gave a secret compliment, and narrowed his eyes slightly. Bingdon, Sharinan, Bin, and Ikeko combination, three of them are already Chunin, and the disciples of Orochimaru, Tsunade, and Jiraiya are all here. What a wonderful team. Lord Shuomo. Nesuke grunted and got up, everyone saluted together. Heitake Sakumo waved his hand with a smile. Don't be so polite, I'm not on a mission right now, and I'm not your direct supervisor. I just heard something interesting and came to say hello. Nawaka stuck out his tongue, looked at Heitake Sakumo's smiling face, and shrank his head. I also understand your previous performance, and I began to regret that I didn't have the opportunity to lead students because of the task. The battle line on Cheyenne side is more dangerous than Yuyen's. As one of the 5 hidden villages, Cheyenne's combat power and overall strength are not comparable to Yuyen's. You have to work hard. Yes, Master Sakumo. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 90. Chapter 90, Transfiguration Dog. After saying goodbye to Heitake Sakumo, the 3 teams received their assigned tasks after a short rest. The teams of the Hyuga brothers, Namikaze Minato and Akemi Shimaru, because of the existence of the supernatural detective, the missions they received were more intelligence-oriented. The combination of Akimichi Choza, Narashikasa, and Yamanaka Kikiza Kakeko belongs to the Special Operations Team. Although they are only 3 of them, they have inherited Konoha's strongest combination tactics. Although the 3 of them are still young, and they are still not strong enough to deal with 2 strong enemies, but they are crushing against ordinary ninja. Therefore, the tasks they receive are often to go to the grassroots battlefield of the ninjas and wait for an opportunity to turn the tide of the battle. As for Squad Satoru, who has been able to single-handedly fight against Jonin in groups, the situation is quite special. As a team equipped with medical ninjas, Satoru can replenish food and water at any time, and their long-term survival ability in the wild is simply supermodel. Therefore, Wu and the others were given long-term tasks to continue to harass, assassinate, and destroy behind the Sand-Hidden line of defense, which made Sand-Hidden village hated. With Nakoki's perception talent, combined with the Mage's Eye, Team Satoru's detection ability is not even much weaker than Team Hyuga's. After several months of continuous missions, Wu led the team behind the Cheyenne defense line and made a big name. The battle against the ninja is crushing, and the battle against the Zongnin does not take much time at all. And if there is a Jonin in the team, most of them will be discovered in advance by Naoki's perception and Satoru, who secretly cast the Mage's Eye, avoiding and not fighting. Although we have a record of killing Jonin, it is a last resort. Having just killed a sub-ninja team led by a Sand-Hidden Chunin, Satoru instilled safety thoughts in Nesuke, Mikoto, and Nanoyu. Our task is to create disturbances, drag the energy of the hidden sand troops, and wear down their strength bit by bit. Just like when we first met Jiraiya-sama at the border, if the battle with Jonin takes too long or causes too much noise, we will easily fall into the enemy's siege. That's why we bully children. No, they are all older than us. Wu scratched his head and coughed dryly. Anyway, we farm, cough, just harvest the weaker enemies. Naturally, the Jonin will be dealt with by our Jonin. Master Sakumo solo, well, if you single-handedly challenge any Jonin against the opponent, it should be a sure win. Recently, there have been quite a few Sagakushi Jonin who have been defeated by Mr. Sakumo. Well, Wu, you have said so much, The core idea is coward, right? Naoki pretended to touch his chin, and nodded seriously, although I wasn't used to it at first. The bad thing is, I'm starting to like this feeling now. What to do, what to do, could it be that I have fallen? Shouldn't ninjas only become stronger by constantly challenging the strong? Transfiguration dog. Wow. Mikan and Nanaio looked at the lifeless Naisha turned into a little pup with black lines on their faces, turned around blankly, looked at each other, and laughed helplessly. This time, everyone started with an ambush, basically killing the enemy without any injuries. What Nanaio is doing now is to maintain the life of the enemy's already seriously injured leader Chinin, so that Mikoto can use illusion to obtain information. Idiot, you can challenge the strong in peacetime, but on the battlefield, if you dare to do so, you will die. Wu leaned on his forehead and let out a long sigh. Do you know what forbearance is? Being able to resist the urge to jump out and die is the first step. Wu Jun, the information they carry is clear. Next, we need to go about 10 kilometers to the northwest, where they join another intelligence team. A little numbly wiped Konoha down the throat of the leader Chinin. Mikoto had already analyzed the information held by the Sand Hidden team. In the beginning, Satoru and the others actually only defeated and seriously wounded the enemy, but did not kill the enemy. This was also done to put pressure on Sand Hidden's logistics and medical departments. But later in a mission, after everyone was pretended to be invincible by the enemy and used the detonating talisman to intend to die together, Wu brazenly issued the order to keep no prisoners. On the battlefield, being kind to the enemy is being cruel to oneself, and they have learned this truth through reality. Therefore, even Mikan and Nanaio have accepted this bloody scene. 10 kilometers to the northwest, understood, then get ready and set off. Enlightenment nodded and squeezed the space between his brows. Although he fought against weaker opponents for several months, he spent a lot of energy on investigation and planning. Most of the usual security tasks are performed by him. Raowu's spiritual power is already very strong due to the cultivation of arcane power, and it is a bit overwhelming. Naoki, Mikoto, and Nanaio were already exhausted. Nakoki's gag just now was just to let everyone relax. Boom. Shenshu, who had basically recovered from the exhausted physical strength, turned back and rubbed his temples hard. Wu, it would be great if your transfiguration technique could restore your mental strength. Just take a nap, it's so troublesome. Satoru took out the map and marked the location indicated by Mikoto. 10 kilometers was not too far for them. Since it is a joint, it must be time sensitive. When we got the information, we have already delayed some time, so let's go now. If the target can be taken, kill them and rest. Stretching, Wu took it for granted. If the target is difficult, we will retreat and find a place to rest. Okay. The three responded in unison. How? During this period of time, Konoha White Fang Hatake Sakumo showed great power on the front line. Konoha ninjas' morale was greatly boosted, and the line of defense that was forced to retreat by Sangakushi was slowly pushed back to the original position. In perception, there is no powerful chakra, but there are 3 at the ninja level. Shengshu opened his eyes, already sensing the target. My perception range is not large enough, but I can already confirm that there are no difficult targets around. Withdrawing the eyes of the mage, Wu didn't find anything else. The location Naoki sensed was that there were indeed 3 Sagakushi shinobi resting. These 3 ninjas are the joint targets of the team just now. Mikoto's Sharinan also confirmed that the 3 of them are indeed forbearance. They didn't show any signs of injury either, it just seemed that they were inexperienced, the location they chose was not concealed enough, and the level of vigilance was not high enough. Nanaio took a closer look at the 3 unaware genin, and shook his head. Could it be the first time on the battlefield, too? It's not surprising, but what valuable information can the 3 ninjas who have just entered the battlefield with inexperience hold? Wu touched his chin, his eyes became serious. I'm looking forward to it, I'm ready to go, restrain them, ask for information. Yes.